So today we're talking about this all-in-one setup that I have in front of me, this desk. Everything that you're seeing is attached to this desk that I have in front of me, and it's been so helpful for my workflow because I can just do so much. So let's talk about that. So first off, let's talk about the desk, and the desk is by FlexiSpot. It is the E6. FlexiSpot are the sponsors of today's video. They have provided this for me, which allows me to make this kind of video, which is great. But as you'll know, with it being a sponsored video, that means we're doing a giveaway, which means that FlexiSpot are actually going to send one of you this desk, which is like $350-ish, $400. So they're going to be sending one of you guys this. If you want to know how to get into the giveaway, I'll tell you at a random point throughout the video. So I guess you're just going to have to watch the whole thing. Now the desk itself is super sturdy. It's got a dual motor system, which is super helpful. It is a sit-stand desk. So as you can see, if I press my pre-programmed standing button, the desk is going to automatically raise, which is really, really nice. Obviously, it goes pretty high. It goes very high, and actually goes a lot higher than I've placed it. So I think, where are we? Okay, this is where I like to stand. But it can keep going. It can, hold on, hang on, my light's gonna hit the ceiling. Okay, my light is officially getting crushed into the ceiling. Let's put that back down. So the nice thing about this is that I can use this as a standing setup if I want to, which is great, because sometimes you want to stand instead of sit. I don't use this very often standing, but you certainly can. So that's always nice to have. Now I've got a whole lot of stuff mounted and set up on this desk. I've got a giant rig, which I'm going to show you here in a second, a computer, a monitor, audio systems, 2 microphones, loads and loads of things. We're not even close to the limit of the weight capacity on this desk, which is really nice. Build quality wise, it just feels fantastic. It's pretty sturdy. Another thing that I absolutely love about this desk is it is on wheels. So I can wheel this around and nothing changes. My lighting doesn't change because everything is attached to the actual desk, which means that I could wheel this over to the other side of the room and give myself a completely different look. I can move it to a completely different corner of the room, which means that I can film in a whole separate space and have a completely different look to my shot. I can just do a whole bunch just with having wheels, and having it all attached to one desk is so helpful. So the desk just works great. I'm a really big fan, and again, just having everything attached all at once and not having to worry about the desk not being able to hold it is awesome. Usually I like to build my desk, so I've talked about this desk setup before, which I built myself, and I'd still recommend building a desk if you haven't before, but you can't build a standing desk. I mean, maybe you can. I'm not an engineer, so I can't do it. And I've bought a standing desk before, just on Amazon. I bought like a dirt cheap, it was like $80 standing desk frame, and it broke within like 2 months. So if you're looking at getting a standing desk, it's definitely worth investing in a good one. And this thing, I think, has been a perfect balance of like cost to performance. All right, before we get to all the tech stuff and everything that is attached, let's go over this big stand that I have in front of me, okay? So this is called the Titan Rig by Tarion, and it's pretty cool. It's basically a giant mount, kind of like a monitor mount that you would get. But the thing I really liked about this is that it has 2 clamps at the bottom. It's got like a double clamping system, so it just felt a lot more sturdy. I've tried to mount things to desks before, and it never feels all that sturdy. So I've got a ton of stuff attached to this. It comes with like 4 or 5 different arms that you can use, so I'm using all the ones that they provided, plus I've attached 2 super clamps with some magic arms on them to attach even more accessories, and it's held up just fine. Now, it isn't perfect, okay? I was hoping that this would have no problems at all, because it's a pretty decent, you know, it's a premium product when it comes to these sorts of things. And again, it is the best I've ever seen and the best I've ever used, but there's still, like, if I bang the table, I still get a tiny little bit of wobble on the camera. Like if I do this, I don't know if you can see that, but my camera's wobbling. So, I mean, maybe the stabilization in the camera's dealing with that just fine. You still get a little bit of wobble. And I will say that the monitor mounts that it comes with, like the little ball heads, are not good. They're a bit of a nightmare. I'm definitely gonna replace those. They're not worth it. So, sorry, but other than that, I think it's more than worth it. The amount of attachments and the amount of stuff that you can rig up on this thing is, I haven't seen anything else being able to do this to this quality. So it is great. Definitely just pick up a couple extra monitor mounts. That would be my only thought. Now, attached to the Titan Rig, I have a ton of stuff. So just as you can see from this shot here, there's so much stuff that I'm going to be trying to cover, but I'm actually going to break this up into 2 videos. So today we're talking about all of the gear and all the stuff that I use to make these talking head videos, right? This shot, everything that I'm using to do this. I also use the same setup for live streaming, which requires a lot of other pieces of equipment. So in today's video, we're talking about the YouTube setup for making videos. And maybe next month, I think, I've got another video coming out breaking down the live streaming side of things, because there's still a few more parts that I want to get to make the live streaming run a little bit more smoothly. But I do try to live stream every week, usually on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, do join me for those. That would mean a whole lot if you come and hang out. Now, if you want to be in on the giveaway for one of these desks, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is like the video. You got to be subscribed subscribe to the channel, and then you got to leave a comment down below and include your Instagram handle down there. And I think we're going to only be choosing people from North America, so that's just one of the restrictions that I have for this giveaway. So if you're interested in getting this desk, and again, I love this desk. It really has been handy. The wheels are probably one of the best casters that I've ever used on like a wheelable desk. Really big fan. The only thing that I would think it needs added to it is some cable management, but that's dirt cheap on Amazon anyway. So that's all you got to do to enter into the giveaway. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below including your Instagram handle, and we'll contact you through there. Now the Instagram account that is going to contact you is my one right here. So if it is not this account, do not reply, just ignore it, and I'm not going to contact you through any other means, no Telegram, none of that nonsense. So Instagram's the only way that that's going to be happening. So again, thank you to FlexiSpot for being willing to send one of you guys this. So I think that's awesome. Anyway, back to the video. All right, finally, let's get to all the stuff that's actually mounted to this rig. Let's first off talk about the cameras. Okay, so my A cam that you're watching me on right now is my Sony FX30. There's a couple of reasons for this. It's just so reliable. It just doesn't overheat. Battery life's good. Image quality is fantastic. Full-size HDMI port, which is more usable for my live streaming video, but it also has the XLR handle. So I'm using a microphone right now, which we're going to talk about in a second, and it is getting run straight into the XLR handle, which just makes life so much easier because I've got a big audio interface over here, but I don't want to have to like run cables all over the place. Being able to just plug something straight into the camera is super, super helpful. So I absolutely love that. Plus the image looks really good. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. And on the camera is a Sigma 16mm f1.4 for Sony. It's old, but it's just perfect. It's just a perfect lens. I love that 24mm focal length. I may go a little wider. I may try to go for like a 20mm equivalent, which I've tried before, and it kind of looks more like this. But I think the 24 is pretty good, so I'm quite happy with that. And then lastly, I do have cables being run through the whole rig, and that's the XLR cable, the HDMI cable, and then I also charge the camera sort of perpetually over USB-C. Just keeps the camera charged the whole time, which is really nice. Now the second camera is my camera that is above my head. That is my Sony a6700. Great little camera. Both cameras are attached by the Falcam F38 quick release system. It just makes everything so much simpler that I can just pop them on and off if I need to use them somewhere else. But this is the A6700 with, again, another Sigma f1.4, but this is the 30mm. Another just fantastic lens. And I use this for all of my overhead shots that I've done in all of my videos has been taken on this camera with this lens. And I just like it. It works really well. And the best thing is that it pairs really well. The FX30 and the A6700 are almost identical in image. Same sensor. The color science is slightly different, but overall they just pair fantastically, and it's a pretty affordable pairing as far as YouTube setups go. I would love to move to full frame. I'm really tempted to move to a Lumix full frame setup. I'll still talk about Sony cameras, but for myself, I may give it a go. We'll see. The main audio that I'm using is my Sennheiser MKH416, which is a beast of a microphone. And it is $1,000. So if that's absolutely ridiculous to you, which I totally understand, then yeah, don't get this microphone. There's definitely other really good ones. My top recommendation, if you don't want an XLR microphone and you just want like a normal mic, is probably the Rode VideoMic NTG. It's a great little microphone. Similar sound, it's just a lot more bass heavy. But I absolutely love the sound of the Sennheiser MKH416. I think it just works really, really well. The room is acoustically treated, so that helps as well. But overall, I think it's just a really good sounding setup. I do need to get a shock mount for this camera because if I do bang on the table, you can kind of hear it come through the microphone, which is very irritating. I'm sorry for your ears for what you just had to hear. But there's two other things that I use for these talking head videos. One of them is this mat. I do use these mats on the desk, and I will use different colors. I've talked about this in another video, but different colors for different things, mainly for my overhead camera. Whenever I'm focusing on this camera, I'll use the gray one because it just matches the best, I think, but I'll change these out quite a lot just so that I can get different kind of shots. And then lastly, of course, is my light. I'm using one light attached to this whole rig, and that is my newer HB80C. It's like an 80 watt RGB light, and it's on a newer diffusion umbrella, which I just put a video out about recently, so do check out that video if you want to know more. But I absolutely love this light. It can do everything that I need it to. Like, I don't use 1% of what this light is capable of when I'm using it as a key light. So if you're looking for one that just acts as a key light, you don't need the RGB version, but it is nice to have. So that is all mounted again on here, just using an umbrella, which is the softest way to get some light. I think it just looks really nice. And this lighting, I think, looks pretty good. I've got other lights sort of mounted around the room that'll give me this hair light and stuff, but for this setup, I think this whole rig is just perfect. Now, one other little key thing that I love having in a YouTube setup is my iPad Pro. I love having an iPad set up, especially with Sony cameras, because with the monitor and control app, especially for the FX30 and a lot of their other cameras as well, I can control my camera using my iPad, which is super handy. So instead of having to reach all the way over to the camera to hit record, I just tap on here to hit record and it starts. I can change my ISO, aperture, everything that I can do all on here. I can even do touch to focus, which is super nice. So if you haven't used an iPad or if you haven't used the monitor control app, I'd highly recommend checking that out. It is awesome. I absolutely love that setup. But anyway, that's about all I have. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. What do you think I should upgrade? What would you recommend that I change? Because I'm always interested in upgrading my setup. What do you think's overkill? Is this mic too much, or do you think the sound quality is worth it? How do you feel about the image quality? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm interested. And I'll try my best to reply to your comments. Unless you're just being a little bit of a turd, then I probably won't, or I might make jokes about it. I don't know, we'll see. So I want to know what your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, or maybe even subscribe as we continue to build this channel. I appreciate all of you for doing so, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.